Okay, today we're going to do a disassembly procedure for the 7/16 Husky diaphragm pump, and we're going to focus on the fluid manifolds, the ball checks and seats, and the diaphragms. So before servicing the 7/16 diaphragm pump, you want to shut the air off and then follow the pressure relief procedure outlined in the manual. Once that's done, then you can go ahead and proceed with the disassembly. To start then, we're going to go ahead and remove the outlet manifold. All right, once we have the 4 bolts removed, then I'm just going to lift the outlet manifold off and we'll set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the balls, seats, and ball cage. Simply going to take a little pick and lift those guys out. And we'll lift the cage out, and the cage is actually also the seat as well. And then beneath that is one more O-ring. We'll repeat the procedure for the other side. At this point, the bolts that we pulled out actually have some nuts that are in the casting. And I like to go ahead and remove those right away, just because as you're working on this and maybe turning this over, like we're going to do in a minute to do the inlet manifold, they're going to slide on out and fall out anyways. So this way you're just capturing them and not having to pick them up off the floor. Just going to flip the diaphragm pump over, and we're going to repeat the procedure for the inlet. Okay, once they're loose, you can just go ahead and lift the feet and the bolts and everything up off the inlet manifold. We'll set that aside. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lift the inlet manifold off, and we'll set that aside. And we're going to lift the ball check assemblies out, but this time everything's going to be in reverse order. We've got the bottom O-ring, the cage, the ball, and then the top of the cage along with that O-ring. And of course, the reason everything is reversed is because the pump is actually sitting upside down right now. And one last O-ring. And then, just like the top manifold, I'm going to go ahead and remove those nuts, because once again, when we start moving these things around, they're going to fall out. Okay, and that's going to complete the procedure for the inlet and the outlet manifold. The next thing is going to be to go ahead and remove the fluid covers. And we're going to start by removing the band clamps. I'm just going to loosen them up right now. Okay, before I completely remove them, I just want to kind of call attention to the position or condition of the ground strap out front here. You can see it says right on the top side ground, and then we have the grounding screw over on the one side. I just want to call attention to that, because when we build this back up, we want to make sure that we put this clamp back in the same position. And to make it easy, just make it relative to the air valve. All right, we have the 2 nuts off. We'll go ahead and remove the ground strap. And then our clamps are loose, and we just kind of loosen them up and move them to the inside, and that fluid cover is going to fall right off. And we can just take that clamp off, set that aside, and repeat the procedure for the other side. All right, at this point, we're going to go ahead and remove the diaphragms. We have, these are a bolt-through design. So with the bolt-through design, I like to use either a boxed end wrench or a socket set. I don't like to use an open wrench here, especially on the plastic or poly pumps, because they tend to round out on the heads. So it's best to use, again, a boxed end wrench or a socket when removing the diaphragms. All right, so when we take these apart, one diaphragm is going to come loose and the other is going to stay on the diaphragm shaft. So we're just going to remove the one, and we're going to have the air plate, and this one has a backer diaphragm, and then the diaphragm itself, the fluid plate, and the bolt that goes through it. We're just going to go ahead and push on the shaft for the diaphragm to push the whole other assembly out. And the shaft is now still secure to the diaphragm, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab a wrench. There's some flats on that shaft. We'll secure it, and then we will remove the other diaphragm. And we'll just set everything aside for right now. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the side covers to get down to the U-cups and the seals for the air valve shift. Okay, so I'm just going to set the center section on its side, and we've got 6 screws that are holding the air plate onto the center section. I'm just going to go ahead and remove those 6 screws. Okay, now we have all 6 screws removed, and we can simply lift the air plate off. We have the gasket for the air plate, and using my pick I can go ahead and remove the U-cup for the diaphragm shaft and then the O-ring for the air valve shift. Then we'll just go ahead and turn this over and repeat the procedure for the other side. Okay, we have those 6 screws removed, so now we can go ahead and pull the second air plate off, and then the manifold for the exhaust gasket. And then just like the other side, we're going to go ahead and remove the U-cup for the diaphragm shaft and the O-ring on the air valve pilot pins. And that's going to complete the teardown of the 7/16 Husky diaphragm pump.